If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Lego Batman said this very famous quote in his 2017 movie. Throughout my life, I've had an interest in Batman, from movies to the uncomfortable hell that was the original Adam West TV show, which is the picture being passed around right now. Batman has always been a part of my life in some incarnation. Batman is one of the most identifiable superheroes there is, and it is important to understand the beginnings and methods of Bruce Wayne to truly enjoy the character. Batman spent his life after the death of his parents dedicated to avenging their deaths and making sure that what happened to him won't happen to anybody else. Throughout this speech, I will first discuss the death of his parents, then I will talk about his travels and training with Henry Duncard, then I will talk about his methods and why he does what he does. So to start us off, Batman came from a loving home where he was the center of his parents' worlds, until one night at the theater. The Waynes left the theater because of the trauma of bats he came across earlier in the week after falling into a well and being attacked by them. It's important to note that during the play that they were watching, there were bats portrayed in it. As they were walking from the opera house in an alley, a man came across them. This man, looking homeless, wanted the Waynes' money and jewelry. The Waynes obliged, except for the mother's pearl necklace, and the mother and father were shot and killed, leaving Bruce alone. Bruce was then considered an orphan. His parents gave Alfred his permission to raise him as his own and become the parent figure that Bruce needed. Because this was only a verbal agreement, Alfred and a social worker named Mrs. Thompson worked on keeping Bruce and ended up winning. After many years of care, Bruce then decided to leave Gotham and train to avenge his parents. And through his training, he met many people that helped him along the way, the most well-known being Henry Duncard. So right now I'll pass a photo of Henry around. So as I stated before, Batman, or Bruce, went around the world and ended up in Paris, where he met Henry Duncard. Before they met, however, Henry wanted to test Bruce to make sure that he was worthy of being trained. So Henry sent his son Morgan to test him in an alley, kind of like how Bruce's parents died. Bruce ended up winning the fight because he was already trained. After Bruce won, Duncard put a gun to Bruce's head for humiliating his only son. Batman, however, being trained once more, fought him more from a psychological standpoint and won. Duncard agreed to then train Bruce. For the next several months, he trained Bruce and Morgan together, hoping that they would work as a team to find and kill people. After months of training, Bruce then decided to leave. This was a choice that he made because he had a view that killing for justice wasn't correct. As we see during the origin story, something clicked in Bruce's head since his parents' death. But what is that something? Now we need to dig into the psychology of who he is and why and how he fights villains. So let's start off with, why does he dress as a bat? So he dresses as a bat to strike fear into criminals. He believes that this strikes fear because criminals are superstitious. So his uniform, he believed, you need to strike fear into them. So he chose the bat because they're a creature of the night, they're black, and they're terrible. And then next, we need to look at Bruce's warts. So Bruce had warts since he was generative. Through the works of Erik Erikson, this means that he wants to be a guide to the next generation. One of the most well-known of these is Dick Grayson. When Bruce found Grayson, he discovered that Grayson witnessed his parents' murder. Feeling sorry for Grayson and connecting to Grayson, he took him in to help him understand that he was not alone, and to understand that he wasn't isolated like Bruce became after the death of his parents. So, connecting everything together, during Bruce Wayne's childhood, he was left alone, only to be watched by his butler after his parents were murdered. Throughout his travels, he found a man named Henry Duncard that trained Bruce in finding people and getting information out of them. After his travels, he came back home and became the man that people know as Batman, through his need to help the next generation and his need to strike fear into criminals in order to avenge his parents' deaths. Batman spent his life after the death of his parents dedicated to avenging their deaths and making sure what happened to him won't happen to anyone else. So in conclusion, Bruce Wayne is a man that has experienced a traumatic childhood that has led to his current lifestyle and the vigilante we know as Batman.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight?
I have.